This morning I am working on starting to create some videos around how to create order in your home and in your family life. And the reason that this is important is because research has demonstrated that positive behavior in children is correlated with higher levels of structure and routine and common order in the home, which is, I think, not surprising. Most of us know that regardless of our age, we have a sense of peace and calm and are better able to regulate ourselves and manage and enjoy life when we feel like we're surrounded by order and beauty, and we kind of have a sense of what's coming up and what we typically do. We don't have to make it up from scratch every day. Those of you who know my personal story of growing up know that it was kind of a mixed bag of events, or a lot of aces in my childhood, but there are also a lot of beautiful parts of my childhood and wonderful legacies that I received from my parents. And I am so grateful that one of those was in the midst of kind of the emotional storm that was off in our family, there was physical order and there were predictable structures and routines in my life. And in many ways, I feel like those saved me, because as I navigated my life, I knew that in the midst of chaos, I had been empowered by my parents to learn how to create structure, to create order, and to kind of hold on to that when everything else around me was kind of going crazy. So structure is important, order is important. I don't think I need to talk a lot about why. I think it's generally accepted why. The hard part is actually making it happen, especially when you have a tot or two or five running around, and especially when those tots have other things going on, such as behavioral issues or learning differences or personality differences, or there's tension going on, or there's lots of activities. So each one of these videos is going to tackle a different piece of that, but we're just going to start with creating some tips and tricks, I guess, for creating order in your physical space when you have kids. So one of the things that becomes readily apparent when I'm working with families and we're talking about creating more order, cleaning, tidying up, organizing in home, it quickly becomes apparent that there's generally one person trying to make that happen and then kind of chasing after others, and they feel like they're having to nag and pull teeth to get others to help. And that is so unfair to that one person and to the family at large, because cleaning and ordering an environment and is something that really needs to be done as a family. And if your children are still infants, that's great, because you can start this right from the beginning. But even if your children aren't used to being a part of the organizing, tidying, cleaning, being responsible for themselves in the environment process, it is absolutely something that they can learn at any age. And that is really empowering, not only for that one person who was feeling like they were doing everything, but also for the children themselves. So somehow along the lines, it seems like many families were told, or somehow got the impression, that children aren't able to do much as they're growing up. But children as early as 3 can make meals, simple meals, and do dishes and sweep, and as long as they have tools at their size. This was one of the things that I love most about being in a Montessori environment, was seeing 3, 4, 5, 6-year-olds take on these tasks with enthusiasm and pride and really be a part of creating a beautiful environment, their own environment. It's really gives them a sense of agency. And not only is it help from a teaching perspective, not only is it helpful in keeping the classroom neat and giving them that sense of power and ownership, that practice, organizing and structuring, just helps in general with their ability to think critically, to reason, to analyze, put things together, which are all skills that help them as learners as well. So anyway, it is not cruel, and I feel like it's crazy that I have to say this, but I think unfortunately, many families, mothers in particular, often feel like, oh, if I ask my child to make their lunch or make their bed, or if I'm not doing these things for them, that I'm not being loving. And I feel so sad that that is a message that parents have received, because it's completely the opposite. By having the expectation that your child have an alarm in the morning, even as a first grader, even as a kindergartner. I know it sounds crazy, in preschool for some children, depending on who they are and their needs, to have them set an alarm with you in the evening, and then to wake up at that alarm, if your family needs to get up early. Otherwise, they just wake up naturally at about the same time every day, right? And to get themselves dressed, to bring themselves downstairs, to help put breakfast together and eat it, and then to help clean up and put away dishes, even like wiping off the table. Those are things that even preschool age children can do, as well as things like helping fold laundry and sweep, if you have child-sized brooms, and certainly organizing, and what a great task for a young child. Okay, put these in order. These we have a couple pencils on the table. Make sure those go back in the pencil spot. So setting an expectation in your family, as a family, that this is a space we all share. How do we want it to look? How are we going to make this environment one that's easy for us? And then having the expectation and teaching the skills so that all family members can be a part of maintaining that. So if you are looking to create more order in your home, just in the physical space, and then also with routines and schedules, which we'll talk more about in a different video, start by having a family meeting where you talk about, what do we want our space to look like? What do we like about the way things are working? And what don't we like? And go around to each room in the house and discuss, like, is this working well for you? When you go to do your homework, do you have everything right there? Do you have to look for things? And how does that feel when you have to, spend that time looking for things instead of being able to just get started? Yeah, I can imagine that's frustrating. How can we solve that problem? So deciding as a group, this is how we want our home to look, and then spending some time talking about how you're going to make that happen, and then consistently saying, oh, I noticed that there's, even for little things, oh, I noticed that you left a pencil on the table, and you said that one of the things you wanted to do is when you were done, put it back into this container so that you have it for school. Do you remember that? And I think parents worry about being nitpicky, but there's a difference between, hey, you said that you were going to put that in there. Make sure you put that pencil in there. You forgot. Oh, this place is... There's a difference between that, which does feel more like nagging and is stressful for the parent and the child, and just saying, oh, hey, there's a pencil sitting there. Is a pencil a big deal in the grand scheme of life? Of course it's not. But the thing is, if you take the time to acknowledge those tiny things, all of a sudden you start to notice that there's more calm and order. And kids are really good once they have the idea. They're really good at noticing those tiny things. Often adults get so overwhelmed by the large things that we need to handle, those big problems. Why am I worrying about a pencil when I'm trying to get medical insurance to cover this, procedure? We're thinking about those big things. But the reality is, which is why we can't do it alone, but if we can employ our children to help be a part of the solution, where the tiny things are just a normal part of life, all of a sudden you have a space that is more calm and orderly. So I hope this is helpful. Please leave comments below, and make sure to check out my other videos on Love Alex for creating order if this is something that you are trying to work on in your family. Thanks for watching.